The New York State Athletic Commission acknowledges a mistake but declines to overturn the Gervontay Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach decision. And we got to talk about this again. This is Serious Ground Boxing, and I got to give you a quick jab of boxing news from around the world. We are dedicated to the grind and dedicated to you. That's why we do what we do. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so now I've done a couple of videos about this, but everybody is arguing about it. Controversial yet unsurprising decision. The New York State Athletic Commission has opted not to overturn the draw in the Lamont Roach fight versus Gervontay Tank Davis, despite acknowledging a missed knockdown. Now, first and foremost, I gotta let you know, bottom line up front, I agree that things should be viewed as a draw. So now this decision, it is stemming from an admitted official error during the fight. The New York State Athletic Commission confirmed a legitimate knockdown was not credited to Lamont Roach Jr. due to, I'm going to say, technical and officiating issues. Basically, referee Steve Willis messed everything up. This is according to the New York State Athletic Commission. Now, they are maintaining that overturning the draw to a Lamont Roach Jr. victory would be unjustified. And the reason that they gave is there were remaining rounds after the missed call. And that is the significant factor. Now, I totally agree with this thinking, because if Gervontay Tank Davis had a knockdown in round 9 and the referee scored it a knockdown, Gervontay Tank Davis had the understanding that he was knocked down and that round he lost, I think the next round he would have turned up. And maybe the next round after that he would have turned up. And maybe the next round after that he would have turned up. So once he got knocked down in round 9, or once it was counted as a knockdown, he may have gotten up and turned up. He may have gotten up and turned up and got knocked out. He may have turned up and knocked out Lamont Roach Jr. Who knows what would have happened? But what did happen is that the referee did not do what the referee was supposed to do according to the rules of officiating. Now, I don't have the mindset that Steve Willis didn't know what was going on. I don't have the mindset that this was not a farce. I don't have the mindset that, oh yeah, he just made a simple mistake. Because we've seen Steve Willis officiate so many different fighters, so many different fights, and we've seen him make the right decision. And we saw that he did initially count it as a knockdown, but something happened and then he decided not to count it as a knockdown. No one is talking about the something that happened. Gervontay Tank Davis, Lamont Roach, I don't blame them for the outcome of the fight. However, something happened in the fight that made Steve Willis stop counting. You got me? Now I'm gonna break down the rationale of the New York State Athletic Commission. But I just want you to understand that something happened in the fight that no one is talking about. Even the New York State Athletic Commission, they have not released any details about what they asked Steve Willis, the series of questions, they didn't talk about the investigative procedures. They didn't give the who, what, when, where, why of what happened. They've basically given a statement through other people saying, hey, it's going to stay a draw. But this is alarming. And it points to a bigger problem. So anyway, the commission's statement basically makes it clear that while the knockdown should have been recorded, they cannot determine with certainty how the fight would have played out had the knockdown been counted at the time it happened. So their argument is that the momentum and the strategy of both fighters could have shifted, potentially leading to a different outcome. And I totally agree with this type of thinking. So it could have been in Lamont Roach's favor, or it could have been in Gervontay Tank Davis's favor. And this mentality or this approach, which I think is justified, it highlights a major problem. Because we saw the scoring of the fight. So the fight continued for 3 additional rounds after the missed knockdown. And I understand that leaves a lot of room for so many different what if scenarios. Because if Lamont Roach Jr. had been awarded the knockdown, his confidence may have led him to be even more dominant. So he may have even had a more dominant performance because he knew he scored a knockdown. And even Lamont Roach Jr. has said that he told Steve Willis, keep counting, because he knew that that was a knockdown. Everyone in boxing knew that that was a knockdown. Now, would his opponent, Gervontay Tank Davis, had responded aggressively and changed the course of the fight if round 9 had have been scored a knockdown? These are things that you got to think about. You have to think about these things. Could the fight have ended in a knockout for Lamont Roach or Gervontay Tank Davis? Because we had never seen Gervontay Tank Davis get hurt. We saw Lamont Roach hopping those shots at Gervontay Tank Davis, and we saw him rearing back really fast. He was hurting Tank with those shots. He didn't knock him out. Tank didn't even get close to knocking him out. And we had never seen anyone take Gervontay Davis's best shot and didn't get knocked out. So this gigantic error has caused so many problems and so much scrutiny right now. But the controversy is extending beyond the missed knockdown. And the reason why I say that is the purpose of this video. This controversy, yes, it's about round 9 and the knee that was taken that should have been scored a knockdown. Yeah, no doubt. But something bigger is at play. What happened during round 9 to make Steve Willis stop counting? What in the world happened? No one is talking about it, and I'm not understanding why people are not talking about it. What happened? What did Steve Willis say to Gervontay Tank Davis that made Steve Willis say, you know what? I'm gonna stop counting right now. And what happened with Steve Willis that made him start counting, send Lamont Roach Jr. to a neutral corner, and then have a conversation with Gervontay Tank Davis after some other things happened? Okay, so we got to talk about these other things. One, the failure to penalize Gervontay Tank Davis for rule violation, because Gervontay Tank Davis turned his back to the fighter. That's omission, that's quitting, that's a violation of the rules. So one, he violated the rules. He turned his back on Lamont Roach, and the official saw it. Okay, that's one rule. That's one violation. Another violation. Gervontay Tank Davis put his body through the ropes. He leaned outside of the ring one time, and then he got back into the ring and leaned outside of the other side of the ring. What in the world? Leaning through the ropes is a violation. So first he leaned through one side of the ropes, which is a violation. I guess he was trying to talk to somebody out there. And then he came back into the ring, and then he leaned out the other side of the ropes. He said something, I guess, to Calvin, Coach Calvin, and then another violation happened because Coach Calvin got a white towel, walked up on the steps of the ring, and wiped Gervontay Tank Davis's face off. Do you hear what I said? That's corner interference. So let's break these violations down. Gervontay Tank Davis, one, turned his back on his opponent, Lamont Roach. He took a knee. That's not a violation. You can take a knee. That's a knockdown. He leaned through the ropes one time, got back into the ring, then leaned through the ropes again. And then his corner intervened, stepped up on the ring, and wiped his face down. Did you hear all of those violations? I'm just like, what in the world? And, one of the things that really, is so convenient was the lack of immediate correction via instant replay. They had instant replay, but somehow, magically, it was not working because it favored the B-side. If instant replay was working, which I don't believe that it wasn't working, it could have prevented this scoring dispute in real time. So now, let's look at the potential disciplinary action for this referee oversight. Where does it exist? Actually, it doesn't exist because there has been no official statement that has been made regarding Steve Willis. So there is no officiating accountability. Now, the ruling remains in place. It's a draw. But there's so much public reaction, and a lot of people in the boxing community, they are arguing. And they're saying that, look, these governing bodies, like the New York State Athletic Commission, they need to be accountable. They have to improve their accountability because they are making critical mistakes and they are impacting the future of these fighters. Lamont Roach Jr., if things had just played out and he had won that fight, he had a rematch. There was a rematch in Tank's contract. So if he honored the rematch clause, then what would that have done for Lamont Roach Jr.? It would have put him in a position where he could barter for more money. That's the reason why these guys have to get these belts. They're trying to get more money. So if Tank had a loss to Lamont Roach Jr. at the rematch, he would have been able to negotiate for more money. These guys are prize fighters. They are putting their life on the line for the entertainment of the world, for the scrutiny of the world. And then this type of situation happens where Steve Willis, an individual that we have seen in this exact situation before, and he knows that a knee is a knockdown. He knows that a fighter cannot exit the ring, cannot put part of his body outside of the ring and then get back in the ring and then do it again. Steve Willis knows that the corner cannot come up and do any type of interference. They can't work on you. They can't wipe your face. He knows that. No one is answering about Steve Willis. What was said to make him stop the count? Because he started counting. He sent Lamont Roach to a neutral corner, and then he was starting to count. And then he talked to Tank. And then, now, if you don't know, there's a referee inside of the ring, and then there's a counting referee outside of the ring. So what happened to Steve Willis, even if he got distracted by the referee, by Gervontay Tank Davis, even if Steve Willis, as the referee, got distracted by Tank Davis in the ring, there's a referee outside of the ring, a counting ref, and he maintains the count. So how could Steve Willis inside of the ring stop the count and simultaneously the outside referees stop the count as well? How could that happen? Something is wrong and no one is talking about it. And this is problematic. The rules have been violated and no one is saying anything. No one is saying, hey, we talked to Steve Willis and we asked him this. No one is saying anything at all. Everyone's just silent. The New York State Athletic Commission was really weird is that everyone is saying that the New York State Athletic Commission has made a decision, but I am not able to find the decision that the New York State Athletic Commission has made. I learned of this decision through Boxing Scene, through Doug Quagmire or whatever the guy name is. He's on Twitter telling me and telling the boxing world what the New York State Athletic Commission is saying. Why in the hell is the New York State Athletic Commission not releasing a letter that's telling the whole world the who, what, when, where, why of this situation? If they are an athletic commission, why are they not saying anything about the situation? Why would a news outlet, why would ESPN and Boxing Scene and all these other places be reporting what the New York State Athletic Commission said? Why is there no official letters from the New York State Athletic Commission? I am very disturbed by this situation because if they are a New York State Athletic Commission, they're supposed to officially release their findings if it's a real investigation. Investigations, they answer a who, what, when, where, why, and how. That's what investigations answer. That is the reason why they are investigations. So I'm not understanding how a media outlet can report what the New York State Athletic Commission has said, but I can't find the letter from the New York State Athletic Commission. This stuff right here, it reeks. It smells like corruption. It smells like complete corruption. And I'm very disturbed and I'm very angered by the situation, because it makes no sense for Gervontay Tank Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. to go through a training camp, do everything that they need to do, and then have a ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon, read scores that Eric Marlinsky scored it 115 to 113 for Gervontay Tank Davis, and Steve Wiseman and Glenn Feldman scored this fight 114 to 114, creating a majority draw, when the whole world, including the judges, saw a man get knocked down, take a knee. They know that's a knockdown. 9th round, Gervontay Tank Davis, he voluntarily took a knee near his corner before leaning out through the ropes, seeking assistance for an eye issue. Now, under the unified rules of boxing, a fighter touching the canvas with anything other than their feet is considered a knockdown. And that would have cost Gervontay Tank Davis a point, if not outright disqualification, for the corner interference in the middle of a round, and then referee Steve Willis looking like he's lost in the sauce. He just allowed Gervontay Tank Davis to continue. Now, some people say, no, he gave him a stern warning. Listen, Steve Willis intervened in this fight, and it seems as if he altered the outcome of this fight. And that left Lamont Roach Jr. massively disappointed, and the boxing world was shocked. So now, Gervontay Tank Davis, he is still a good fighter. He is in a position that he's never been in before. He made Ryan Garcia take a knee. Lamont Roach Jr. made him take a knee. Everybody had to take a knee. So now what in the world is next for these fighters? What's next? Because the New York State Athletic Commission, basically what they have said is that, hey, it's okay if you the A side. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. Because in the future, when these fighters start taking knees in the middle of the ring and they say, hey, you didn't call it on this guy, they start sticking their head out the ring. They start getting their face wiped off in the middle of the round. Now, I thought, according to the rules, that the action in the ring was dictated and controlled by the referee. But we just saw Steve Willis let a fighter do whatever the hell he wanted to do. So it just tells you that, hey, the rules may be in place, but they may not apply to certain people. You got what I'm saying? So, like, I'm very disturbed. That's the reason why I'm doing these videos, man. I'm very disturbed. You know, because boxing is being exposed right now. And it seemed like the boxing world is split right down the middle. You know, because some people, before the New York State Athletic Commission made this ruling, there were people who were saying that Gervontay Tank Davis taking a knee was not a knockdown. Did you hear what I just said? there was an argument on social media. People were saying that Gervontay Tank Davis taking a knee because grease was in his eye was not a knockdown. However, now that the New York State Athletic Commission has said, yes, him taking a knee is a knockdown, now they've changed their narrative. Now they're just celebrating the draw. You got what I'm saying? So it's just amazing to see that people, even in the face of cold, hard facts, people just are completely in denial. Now, we saw Gervontay Tank Davis steamroll Frank Martin with an 8th round knockout, right? But who in their wildest dreams would have ever imagined or ever predicted that in his next fight, he would be taking a knee to Lamont Roach Jr. Everybody dismissed Lamont Roach Jr. They dismissed his power because Lamont Roach Jr. was moving up from 130 pounds. But I'm telling you, on fight night, Barclays Center in Brooklyn, the world witnessed something they did not expect. Because Lamont Roach Jr., after going up a weight division, he went toe-to-toe with Gervontay Tank Davis. And now that the dust is settling, nobody hand got raised. So now peep this. Imagine pushing a A-level superstar to the brink of his capacity, making him take a knee, proving that you are a top dog at the division above your division. I saw how he was frustrating Tank, and I was like, oh my God. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. Everybody is angry because Steve Willis robbed Lamont Roach Jr. of that knee. I saw Lamont Roach Jr. on Nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson, right? He was talking about this controversial draw with Gervontay Tank Davis and the referee's failure to call it out during round 9. And he basically said that impacted his strategy in the later rounds. And I said, okay. Okay, so basically, Lamont Roach Jr. said, after I got the knockout or the knockdown in round 9, if Gervontay Tank Davis turned up and wanted to knock out, I had something for that. I said, what? Look, even on social media, Frank Martin, Terrence Crawford, Ryan Garcia, everybody talked about Gervontay Tank Davis taking a knee. And everyone is saying that, hey, that should have been ruled a knockdown because Lamont Roach Jr. had landed a 2 or 3 punch combination. And hey, he had hit Gervontay Tank Davis in the eye. So when he took that knee, Lamont Roach Jr. told the referee to keep counting. So it's just weird to see all of this crazy stuff. You know, now what's really weird in my mind though is this was DC versus Baltimore, right? Coach Calvin Ford, he knows the rules. And he knows that climbing onto that ring in the middle of a round to wipe a fighter's face, he knows that's a violation of the rules. And people who know the rules know that that could have led to Tank's disqualification, but I'm still not understanding why the referee, Steve Willis, made all of these errors. Why would he make all of these errors? We've never seen him make all of these errors. Why would he do it today? That was just his night. Was he just having a off night? When Gervontay Tank Davis took a knee, he started counting it as a knockdown because he started a count. He sent Lamont Roach to a neutral corner, and then magically he stopped. Was that an error? Maybe it was an off night. Okay, so now when Gervontay Tank Davis turned his back on Lamont Roach Jr. and Steve Willis said nothing, was the referee just having a bad night? Okay, maybe he just had a bad night. Okay. So now when Gervontay Tank Davis stuck his head through the ropes the first time, which is a violation, instant disqualification, and Steve Willis said nothing. Okay. Maybe it's just a bad night. Okay, cool. So now Gervontay Tank Davis comes back into the ring and then sticks his head out the other side of the ring. The referee, Steve Willis, still says nothing. Maybe, you know what? Maybe he's just having another error, but it's another off night. Okay, so it's another off night. So now when Coach Calvin Ford, in the middle of the round, steps up on the ring, climbs steps, and wipes off Gervontay Tank Davis' face, and the referee does not say, hey, this is a violation of the rules, doesn't disqualify him, any of that. What is the Lamont Roach team? What are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to do? What in the world can they do to get some type of, to make them whole? Even one of the biggest cheats in recent history, Ryan Garcia, he was like, look, he called the commission out. And Ryan Garcia, he's a known cheater. So the New York State Athletic Commission, they have cheaters calling them out on their cheating. And man, I'm telling you, man, I just had to do a video on this, man, because it's just crazy. And the New York State Athletic Commission, they would have never even made a decision on the situation. Lamont Roach Jr. had to file a complaint. He had to make an official complaint before they even said anything. So basically, they saw all of this wrong and they were going to stay silent. Now, ain't that something? Okay, we'll get ready to get out of here. But look, what do you think about Steve Willis? What do you think about his mistake? And more importantly, what do you think about Gervontay Tank Davis? Do you think he's going to fight Lamont Roach Jr. again? Leave your thoughts below. Man, I had to give you a quick jab of boxing news. We're going to call this an extended jab because this was ridiculously long. You know what I'm saying? But hey, if you stayed this long just to listen to me, man, when I tell you, this is what I want you to do. Put a 5 in the comment section if you stuck around. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at your name. I'm going to remember your name. And if this channel ever gets as big as I want it to get, I'm going to make you a mod. I'm going to make you a moderator of the channel. That's all I'm saying. I'm telling y'all, if you stayed around this long, I promise you that's what I'm going to do. I'm writing these names down. Okay, I'm going to talk to you later. Stay on the grind, man.